All right, students, we are beginning a new unit today. We're beginning Unit 3, and it is all about pre-algebra. And the title of today's lesson is Algebraic Expressions. And I started out with this little comic here, and it shows this kid talking to his teacher, and you can see that there's an equation on the board that says x plus 2 equals 5, and that says x equals 3. So if you plug the 3 in there, that would make that equation correct. And so this kid's saying, just a darn minute. Yesterday you said that x equals 2. Well, you're going to find out in today's lesson and the lessons that we'll be talking about that when we talk about that letter in math, it's not a scary thing. It's something that makes a lot of sense, actually. And so hopefully if you feel a little bit of anxiety as we're learning about algebra, I can put your mind at ease that if you try and listen and understand some of the things and the terms that we're going to throw out today, it's going to make your life a lot easier as you learn this new algebra. And as you get to know algebra, it's not really a difficult thing. It's just something that's a little bit, we use different words and different vocabulary to explain things. So let's get going for today. Okay, so let's begin with your bell work. This is a review of the things that we have been talking about in the last chapter. Not a difficult thing. So we're going to talk about adding decimals. So remember, when you add decimals, you want to line those decimals up. So we have 18 and 18 hundredths and 22 and 741 thousandths. Now, if we're going to add those together, we remember if we have gaps, we fill them with zeros. And then we just add and we bring our decimal straight down. So 1 plus 1 is 1, 8 plus 4 is 12, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4. So 40 and 921 thousandths would be your answer on that one. So on this subtraction one, whatever number is listed first, we did with this. Subtraction doesn't lend itself to be commutative, where we can move things around however we want. The way that it is the way that it has to be laid out. So this number has to go first. 73 and 77 hundredths, subtract 15 and 781. Now, you have to line up the decimals on addition and subtraction. Again, there's a gap right here. And then we're going to subtract like normal and then bring down the decimal. So subtract this and see what you get. So hit pause. All right, that problem had a lot of borrowing, and I got 57 and 989 thousandths. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is multiplication. And now in multiplication, you don't have to line up those decimals. All you have to do is just write them down as they are. 2 and 35 hundredths and 4 tenths. Now we're going to multiply. 5 times 4 is 20. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 2 is 14. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. Put a 0 on that second row, and then we have 3 zeros because we're multiplying all of those together. Now we add these partial products, 0, 4, 9, 0. And this is what you have to remember with multiplication. If we move the decimal 2 places there and 1 place there, that's 3 total decimal places. So we come down here and go 1, 2, 3, and that is where our decimal goes. So we have 940 thousandths. Okay, moving on to the division. Have you figured out what number comes first and what one comes second? So this is saying 3 and 74 hundredths divided by. So this is the number that's being divided, because we said it's being divided by this. So this first number is what goes under, I guess you can call, I've heard students call it umbrella. I've heard it called under the table. I've heard all sorts of stuff. It doesn't matter what you call it. You're going to put it, it's the one that's being divided. Now we have that, and our decimal's right there. We are going to move the decimal 1 place here. So we have to move it 1 place here and move it up. Now we just treat it like it's a regular old division problem. And we're going to go 2. Does it go into 3? Yes. Once. Subtract. We get 1. Bring down our 7. 2 goes into 17. 8 times, that's 16. Subtract, get a 1, bring down our 4, and 2 goes into 7. Or 2 goes into 14 7 times. So we have 18 and 7/10. So hopefully that helps you out on your bell work. Don't forget, if you're in Mr. Roberts or Mr. Kurt's class, to enter that into Go Formative. All right, let's move on to the next part of the lesson. Okay, so this is on page 48 of your journal. So hit pause and turn to page 48. Okay, so here is where we're going to learn some new vocabulary and some new terminology for this algebra that I kind of talked about at the beginning of the lesson. So today we're going to be talking about the parts of an expression. And I want to just kind of look at this for a little bit with you. That we have this word that's called coefficients. Now, if you think about the word, just this part of the word, cooperate, where are some other words that you use? Company. Those words that have co in it mean there's more than one, and there's two or more things going on. So right here you can see that we have this coefficient that's called 2x. And that's what a coefficient is. It's a number with a variable. That's what makes it a coefficient. Okay, I know it's a new word, but just remember it. Don't be scared of the word coefficient. Coefficient just means a number with a variable. Okay? Now, let's look at this word, constant. You know, a constant, what is something that's constant? Okay, things that are just going to happen all the time. Well, a number, it can't change. It has a value. So the number 9 is constant because it doesn't change. It is what it is. So constant is just a number by itself. Variables are the letters that are within the coefficients that we're dealing with. So anything that's a letter, it's called a variable. And this is the one that a lot of students kind of struggle with because, you know, you can have a coefficient, but it is also a term. And terms are separated by operations. So you can see that we have 2x is a term, but it's also a coefficient. And we have 4y that's also a term, but it's also a coefficient. And then we also have 9 that's a term, but it's a constant because it's just a number by itself. And I know that can be kind of confusing, but that's why we're giving this to you in your notes, so you can always refer to it to kind of go, oh, if you have an assignment, oh, I can't remember what that meant, so you can look back at this page and you can see. Okay, so on this next little part right here, it says name the coefficients, variables, and constants in 3r minus 4. So let's use what we have up here to help us out. So what are the coefficients in 3r minus 4? Well, 3r is one of them. There's only one. It's 3r. Our variable is r, and our constant is 4. Now, if I put term right here, how many terms does this little expression have? Well, 3r, comma, and 4. Those are the terms. So hopefully that kind of helps you out to understand what we're talking about with these new vocabulary words. All right, so let's take a look at this next part here. It wants us to use some substitution to solve these. So I'm going to do a couple of these, and I'm going to see if you can do a couple on your own also. So I know it's kind of not the best, it's kind of blurry, but we'll do our best. We'll carry on. If a equals 3, solve what 4a plus 2 is. Okay, so it wants us to solve. There really should be an equal sign right here. It's because we're solving it. So what it means is we're going to substitute this 3 in for this a. So what we're really looking at is 4 times 3 plus 2. So 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 equals 14. Okay? Let's do one more, and then we'll see if you can do it. Okay, so again, I'm going to substitute this 6 in for b because b equals 6. So we're going to go 6 squared minus 7 equals. So 6 squared is 36 minus 7 is 29. So this isn't that difficult. We just have to remember to substitute and then carry out our operations using order of operations. Okay, let's see if you can do the rest of the page on your own. So there's 4 of them there. And let's see if you can get the same. Well, you know what? I want to skip down here and do this one really quick. Okay, if x equals 2, y equals 4, and z equals 6. Yeah, we can have different values for different variables. So we need to be able to plug those in. So let's do that. We're going to go 3 times z is 6 minus 4 minus 2. Again, we have to follow order of operations. So we're going to do the multiplication first. So 3 times 6 is 18 minus 4 minus 2. Now we're in subtraction and we work it left to right. So 18 minus 4 is 14 minus 2. And then we have 14 minus 2, which is 12. So don't be afraid if there's more than one variable. Just plug them in, rewrite the problem out, the expression, and then solve it. So give the other ones a try. Hit pause now, and then when you get them done, see if you get the right answer. All right, so let's take a look at those. So make sure that you got them right. So you should have 14, 29, 84, 55, 12, and 28 as your answers. Take a look at those, see if you did the operations correctly, following the order of operations. I'll shrink it down so you can see it all in one place in case you need to pause it. There you go. Let's move on. Okay, so we're looking at your practice now, and it wants us to evaluate an expression. So when it says evaluate an expression, we are just going to write out an expression. We do not need to solve it. So it says you buy 2 scarves for $15 each. How much do you spend? So what that is saying is I am buying 2 times 15 equals X. We don't know what it costs. We could figure it out, but again, it says evaluate an expression. So we're just writing an expression. You could also flip-flop that. We want to know what the price is, and we know that we're going to go 2 times 15. So it doesn't matter. You can flip-flop those, and you get the same thing. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. It takes you 15 minutes to bike 5 miles. How long does it take you to bike 1 mile? Okay, so this is going to be 15 so we can see that we're going to be using some division here. And I know I talked to my class about this, that we are going to start showing division by using the fraction bar. So 15 divided by 5 equals X. Okay, so not too difficult to yet. 4 friends split a lunch bill for $24. How much does each person spend? Well, another division. 24 divided by 4 equals X. Number 4, you have traveled 70 miles of a 200-mile trip. How much farther do you have to travel? Well, how much farther means that we're going to subtract. So I'm doing 200 minus 70 equals X. So pretty simple on that. Okay. Now, this is where you're going to want to use your journal to do the next part of this assignment, because we have to identify some coefficients, terms, variables, and constants. So remember, our terms on this one would be 3x squared, comma, 4x, comma, 7. The coefficients would be 3x squared and 4x. And our variables would be X, because there's no other ones. And our constants would be 7. Okay? Give number 6 and number 7 a try and see what you come up with. All right, so number 6 and number 7, you have your terms of 7a and 2, coefficient of a, 7a. Variable is a, and your constant is 2 on your terms, y, z, and 10. no coefficients because there's no number letter combinations happening there, then we have y and z as our variable and our constant is 10. All right, let's go on to the next part. Evaluate the expression. So kind of what we were doing in your notes, you're going to be plugging things in. We call this substitution. So we're going to take a plus 7. Well, that's 4 plus 7, which equals 11. Okay, so go through this next section up to 13. So hit pause, do up to 13, hit play, see if you get what I got. All right, so you should have got these answers: 2, 90, 5, 40, and 1. Again, if you need to look at these a little closer, you can hit pause and take a look and see if you made any mistakes. All right, let's move on to 14. Number 14 says evaluate the expression. So you can see that that's an M and an N together. And when we have two letters that are like that, it means they're being multiplied together. So this is really saying M, which is 9, times 12 minus 4 times 2. Okay, so 9 times 12 is 108 minus, what is 4 times 2? 8. So my answer would be 100. Okay, so you're following order of operations here. So I'm going to have you pause it again. Excuse me, pause it again, and I want you to try number 15 and number 16 and see what you come up with. All right, so on number 15, you should have got 3 times 12 minus 4 times 9. That's 36 minus 36, which equals 0. On this one, you get 9 squared divided by 3 minus 7. That's 81 divided by 3, which is 27. Minus 7 is 20. All right, let's take a look at number 17. Number 17, the expression 9a plus 6s is the cost for adults. A is for adults and S is for students to see a musical performance. Find the total cost for 3 adults and 5 students. So I'm going to go 9 times 3 plus 6 times 5, and I get 27 plus 30, which equals 57. Now it wants us to do the cost for 4 adults and 4 students. So I'm just going to go, you know what? I'm going to just substitute those with 4s now. And I get 36 plus 54, and that should equal 90. All right, so there's your practice. So hopefully that's starting to make sense to you. Let's move on to your assignment now. All right, your assignment looks almost identical to the practice. There's a few things that might be a little bit different, like this complete the table at the bottom. I just want to explain that to you because it could be kind of confusing because we didn't do anything like that on the practice. So what you're going to do here is X is 5, 8, and 12. So if X is 5 and we plug this 5 in for here, what do you get? If we plug in 8, what do you get? If we plug in 12, what do you get? Again, there's a different expression here. So plug in 5, plug in 8, plug in 12, and see what you get and put those answers in those boxes. The rest of it is just like what we did in the practice, except I'm looking at number 8 and number 9. It says it wants us to write expression using exponents. Okay, well, we didn't see anything like that. So how many M's do I have on number 8? Well, because there's multiplication here, we have 4 M's. We're going to go M to the 4th power. Okay? And I want you to try number 9 and number 10 on your own. I think you can handle that. The rest of this is looking pretty easy. So give this a shot, see how you do, and I will talk to you tomorrow.